Board of Supervisors task force made recommendations today for a city minimum wage, or what politicians are calling a living wage. News Center 4's David Wright is at a rally right now in San Francisco, and he has the details. David?
Wendy, the rally hasn't quite begun, but we've got about 20 or 30 of San Francisco's finest beginning to set up barricades outside Old Navy here on Market Street. There's only so much the city can do about big chain stores like Old Navy, but when it comes to businesses that do business with the city, there's a lot of leverage the city can hold. And both candidates for mayor are using the idea of a living wage as a slogan. But as we're beginning to find out, there can be a gap between the slogan living wage and the policy that we're seeing starting to emerge.
For mayor! Time for mayor!
It's been one of Supervisor Tom Amiano's marquee issues, and one that Mayor Willie Brown has lent support to as well. On the eve of the first televised debate, Brown ordered a pay raise for airport workers, allowing him to steal some of Amiano's thunder.
I caused the airport to move forward to do something about those people that wear the red jackets, the security people.
You would be required to pay a quote-unquote living wage.
Now comes the fine print, and the living wage plan beginning to take shape, maybe closer to Brown's ideas than Amiano's. $7.50 an hour the first year, $8.25 in year two, and finally $9 an hour plus health benefits.
Cruel joke and a real insult to the working people of San Francisco. We came in proposing a law that would enable people who work full-time in jobs that are city-related jobs to earn enough to survive and support their families, and they've come back with a proposal for $15,000 a year. It just won't do.
The Living Wage Task Force wants businesses located on port property to remain exempt. Large nonprofits would be covered, but ones with smaller city contracts would not. Some of those businesses that would be covered by the living wage aren't too happy about even this scaled-down plan.
With the rental car companies outside of the airport that are able to do business and pick up customers, that does give them a competitive advantage because they would not have any living wage imposed on them.
Clearly, not everyone is singing from the same page, but the debate is just beginning.
I really am willing to negotiate. However, $7.50 as a starting point is really a mockery. And to talk about Scrooge and Christmas, it doesn't hack it.
The task force commissioned to study the living wage issue finalized its recommendations today. They'll be passing those on now to the Board of Supervisors, but Supervisor Amiano tells us it could be some time before those recommendations get a hearing, perhaps even the new year. Wendy?
Okay, David, thank you very much. David Wright live in San Francisco.
Well, today, San Francisco's Living Wage Task Force made public today its final recommendations on how the city should implement a living wage program. Scaling back the original proposal came from Supervisor Tom Amiano, and the final draft today was the focus of a demonstration tonight. Leila Feinstein was there and has the story.
Approximately 100 protesters chanted, lit candles, and marched tonight. They started at the Gap, whose owner, Don Fisher, opposes San Francisco's living wage proposal. An army of policemen flanked the store, fearing a repeat of last week's World Trade protests in Seattle. But tonight, it was peaceful. One of the protesters' major demands, a decent living wage.
It's the American dream. Why not let us have the American dream?
Shuttle driver Kent Gordon says he can't survive on the $6.40 an hour he makes.
It's pretty rough. I wind up with maybe $600-700 take home.
Many here are angry about the recommendations by the Living Wage Task Force that reduce Supervisor Tom Amiano's proposal of $11 an hour. The task force wants a 3-year phase-in of $7.50 an hour the first year, $8.25 the second, and up to $9 by the third year. And the task force wants to scale back Amiano's plan by not covering the thousands of workers on port property.
I think they're really an insult to the working families in San Francisco. I mean, to propose $7.50 an hour, $15,000 a year, people can't live on that. They can't pay their rent on that. We have security guards who are working full-time in city contracted jobs who are living in homeless shelters right now. $7.50 an hour will not put a roof over their head.
Protesters here say they're not surprised that business leaders are applauding the task force's recommendations, saying Amiano's proposal is too costly for the city.
This isn't just feel-good legislation. Somebody has to pay for it.
It's a win-win situation for everybody. The person is not going to take that check and just hold it. They're going to go out and spend it in the mom-and-pop stores around the neighborhood, and they'll spend it in their neighborhood, and within a 5 or 10 year period, it'll have a ripple effect. So this will stimulate the economy.
The living wage has become a hot topic in this election season. Supervisor Amiano says $7.50 is unacceptable, and he'll continue pursuing his $11 an hour proposal, even if he's not elected mayor. Meanwhile, Mayor Willie Brown says the recommendation is a good start. Workers here say it's not good enough. The task force will bring their recommendations to the Board of Supervisors on December 16th. Workers here say they won't stop fighting because their livelihoods are on the line. In San Francisco, Leila Feinstein, Bay TV News.
100 cities across the country to speak out for those who may not have a voice. Activists want to see a living wage from San Francisco to Saipan. Holiday shoppers got quite a surprise at San Francisco's Old Navy store. A line of police officers greeted them along with a lively crowd of protesters. They allege the clothing giant, along with the Gap and other stores, prosper by using sweatshop labor abroad.
In Saipan, for example, workers work for over 12 hours a day with no overtime pay and make less than the minimum wage here in the United States.
The protesters say young women work in slave-like conditions, 12 hours a day, for a fraction of the U.S. minimum wage. But do the allegations influence shoppers?
If I knew and it was true, I would be right there with them protesting, because I don't think it's right to the American people.
And the domestic concerns don't stop there. Protesters say workers in San Francisco need a living wage to survive here.
Budgeting what you eat, because you got to pay your bills and you got to pay rent, and it's insanely expensive to live in San Francisco. And
College student Colleen Cummins makes $7.50 an hour, well over minimum wage. But Cummins and others here say still not enough to live. They back a living wage ordinance, which would pay some city workers $11 an hour.
Anyone who's working full-time should earn enough to survive and support their family.
Just a few minutes ago, I spoke with representatives from Gap Incorporated, which owns Old Navy and Banana Republic. They say the Gap does do business with factories in 50 countries, but it would not tolerate the conditions protesters allege. The Gap says it forbids forced labor and child labor, as well as unsafe or inhumane working conditions. Lisa?
All right, thanks a lot, Rebecca. Well,
in San Francisco took a turn today that only added to the controversy. A task force chosen by the Board of Supervisors made its recommendations. Rob Roth reports.
Juan Flores is a cook at a restaurant on Fisherman's Warf. He says it's hard to live on his salary, $9.50 an hour.
I have a daughter, you know, and she's barely growing up, and she needs shoes, you know, clothes.
Supporters of a living wage ordinance are pushing the city to help such workers. They want the city to adopt a measure to increase the minimum pay to $11 an hour plus benefits for all employees of companies receiving city contracts or who work on city property, such as Fisherman's Warf, which is on Port of San Francisco land. But this morning, a task force appointed by the Board of Supervisors released its recommendations far different from those supporters had hoped for. Instead of $11 an hour plus benefits, the task force recommended $7.50 an hour, including benefits for the first year, rising to $9 an hour after 2 years.
I think these recommendations are really unfortunate and a real insult to working people in San Francisco. To propose a wage rate of $15,000 a year in a city as expensive as this is a cruel joke to working people.
The task force, many of whom are members of the business community, also recommended that businesses on port properties such as Alioto's restaurant be exempt from having to pay a so-called living wage. That came as welcome news to restaurant owners who feel it would be unfair for them to pay a higher wage if restaurants not on port property didn't have to.
What it comes down to is
why me? And right across the street, another restaurant that's competing with me is going to be paying a lower wage.
But the task force did not exempt car rental agencies at San Francisco Airport. Those agencies would have to pay a living wage, even though rental agencies not on airport property wouldn't have to.
As time goes on and that rate increases, possibly up to $11 an hour, that might cause us to change the way we do business.
Raise your price.
Basically, yes.
In Oakland and San Jose, many companies already pay a required living wage. $8.50 an hour, including benefits in Oakland, $1 an hour higher than the first-year proposal for San Francisco. It's $2 an hour higher in San Jose at $9.50 an hour. Supporters of a living wage higher than the one that's being recommended say the real battle will begin over the next few months. That's when the Board of Supervisors takes up the issue. In San Francisco, Rob Rod for the 10 o'clock news.
Wage in San Francisco, but critics say the numbers just don't add up. For the past several months, supporters of a living wage have pushed for workers in the city to receive $11 an hour plus benefits. But yesterday, a task force recommended $7.50 an hour, then rising to $9 per hour after 2 years. The task force also suggested that businesses on port property be exempt from paying the wage. Living wage backers say the recommendations are unfair and unfortunate.
These recommendations are really unfortunate and a real insult to working people in San Francisco. To propose a wage rate of $15,000 a year in a city with as expensive as this is a cruel joke to working people.
What it comes down to is, why me? And right across the street, another restaurant that's competing with me is going to be paying a lower wage.
Workers at Fisherman's Warf say they are struggling to survive on the wages they earn and had hoped the task force could do much better. But the real battle over wages lies ahead when the Board of Supervisors takes up the matter early next year.
The time is
holiday shopping, what a joy. Heavy traffic, all the stores, nobody around to help, nothing's in stock, not to mention the constant waiting online. And you thought shopping on the internet was going to be easy. It is now. Meet Dealtime.com. We're not a store. We're the internet comparison shopping service that helps you find the stuff you want to buy at the price you want to pay. Dealtime.com. Let us deal with it.
This week on the Playbook, wide receiver J.J. Stokes, plus Ken's radio buddy, Gary Radnich. Friday at 11 on Fox 2.
Grandpa? Hey, boo-boo.
The Volkswagen Jetta, completely redesigned to give you even more of that same old feeling.
Meteorologist Bill Martin has joined us now to tell us what we should expect weather-wise and what you should look forward to on your way home for that ride tonight.
Exactly. A lot of traffic out there. We'll show you a live traffic picture in a moment of 880, but right now we'll show you how it looked today in the Bay Area. It was beautiful. These pictures from Oakland's Lake Merritt. Temperature in downtown Oakland today, 65 degrees. Most Bay Area locations, a solid 5 degrees above the average. We even had a 67-degree reading in Livermore. Just about sunset. The fog started coming in at the coast, actually a little earlier than that. Socked in heavy, very dense fog along Highway 1 at this hour. Be prepared for slow travel through Pacifica, Bodega Bay, and Half Moon Bay. Sunset this evening. You see the coastal fog, but I'll let you know that we'll see some inland valley fog as well. That temperatures will be cool enough tonight and the ground is moist enough. And this is that live picture we promised you from Emeryville. Isn't that amazing? I mean, it's past 10:30 at night. These are cars coming back from Thanksgiving holiday. This is moving into the city, 880. And you can see it's just backed up. So if you're waiting for folks, you may be waiting a little longer. Live picture from Berkeley as well. Temperature in Berkeley at this hour is 52 degrees at Shattuck Avenue. We'll take you now to another place of travel. The San Francisco airport doesn't look too crowded, but you see the fog and low clouds lingering there. And one more live picture, San Jose. And you'll see more fog and low clouds in that region as well. San Jose at this hour is, let me see if I got it there. San Jose at this hour is 52 degrees. Temperatures today in the Bay Area look like these, a little above the average. I said Livermore was 67, one of the warmer spots. Fog on the coast tonight. fog in the Inland Bay valleys tomorrow morning. We're going to see both types of fog, valley fog and radiation fog, or valley fog and advection fog, which is the coast fog in the morning. Pacific Northwest, look at this. That's the focus of the jet stream. They have flood watches and warnings in effect from Medford, Oregon, north into the Portland region. They've seen rainfall amounts up to 3 and 4 inches in the last couple of days. Take you to a current radar of the last 6 hours, and right here, that's Portland, and you'll see the yellow lines going through. This is the nice thing about our weekend, and the holiday weekend, is the jet stream wants to stay to the north, the main portion of it. That's where the rain will stay as well. But you have a chance for a brush with a sprinkle tomorrow night and then Saturday morning, but no big deal. Should be fine. Nationwide, the East Coast, this Midwest, all the way into New York, heavy rain showers. That'll continue throughout the day tomorrow. Pretty strong storm, and then you see the jet stream right here. So travel tomorrow. Check your northeast carriers and Portland and Seattle for possible flight delays. Here's how it looks for us tomorrow. Mostly sunny. The fog at the coast, the Inland Valley fog. It'll be slow going early mornings. Give it a little time, and the fog will lift in the Inland Bay valleys by mid-morning. Temperatures a little cooler tomorrow, but the overall balance of this holiday weekend looks really nice. We could see a sprinkle Friday night, tomorrow night, and Saturday morning, but overall looks real good. But then a return to winter on Monday and Tuesday, so things will completely change around. But good weather just in time for the holiday.
Today was beautiful.
Perfect.
Oh.
Look like we're going to get colder weather pretty soon, too?
You know what? That onshore flow with the fog, no, the temperatures are going to stay mostly in the high 30s and low 40s tonight, which is really good news.
It's called cold.
It's cold, but it's
Cold by
cold.
my definition, too. Thank you, Bill. When the 10 o'clock news continues, this was supposed to be a night of celebration. Instead, it was one of reflection for Texas Aggies.
And a search for survivors found only debris on China's shores after a ferry runs into trouble at sea.
The beautiful fruit.
Firepower Hemi is a powerful competitive engine.
Chrysler unleashes its newest engine.
Even now, we are working on new engineering marvels for future 300s.
Chrysler 300M with a 253 horsepower V6, the most powerful sports sedan in its class.
A hard-boiled piece of automotive engineering.
Available only for select buyers with preferred credit, 0% APR on all Chryslers and Plymouths.
Know someone who needs new clothes? This Friday, stop at Ward's after Thanksgiving Day sale. Get lamb's wool sweaters for just $12.99. 1 carat total weight diamond pendants, $99.99. Save 50% on our entire stock of kids' outerwear. And men's quilted flannel shirts, only $12.99. Ward's after Thanksgiving Day sale, Friday and Saturday. You can't get smarter than Ward.
Family to family, KTVU's commitment to the community continues in partnership with Clorox, committed to education because a bright future depends on bright minds. KTVU Fox 2 presents the annual Family to Family Awards, honoring groups and individuals who make a valuable difference in our community. If you would like to recognize someone special, call 510-874-0580 to receive a nomination form. The deadline for entries is December 31st.
Find great gifts at great low prices now at Circuit City. Hurry in today and save $400 on any computer after mail-in rebates when you sign up for 3 years of CompuServe 2000 Premier Internet Service. Like this E-Machines computer and 15-inch monitor. Yours free after mail-in rebates. Save $625. For friendly advice and guaranteed low prices on your new computer, stop by Circuit City today.
Did you ever take a fight on short notice?
How short? For $100,000.
We want a guaranteed title shot in the contract.
Could you knock out your best friend?
Why are you guys fighting?
Because they pay us.
Woody Harrelson, Antonio Banderas.
It's mine.
I might do that, you know? Because ever since you shave your head, you look so pretty.
Play it to the bone.
I just don't like you.
Knockout. Incredible.
I don't like you either.
Rated R. Starts Friday, January 14th.
In news of the world tonight, on the coast of China, debris washed ashore today from a ferry that caught fire and apparently broke apart in heavy seas and gale-force winds. Chinese officials said 22 people survived, but more than 150 others are known dead. Another 100 are missing. Bad weather is keeping dozens of ships from reaching the ferry. On the island of Corsica, 3 bombs exploded today. One of them went off at a tax office. 3 people were injured. The bombings came as a Corsican separatist is about to be sentenced for the killing of a police officer. The attacks appear to be an escalation in the tactics of separatists seeking independence from France. And in Russia, the Kremlin announced today that President Boris Yeltsin is once again ill. Mr. Yeltsin is said to be suffering from a viral infection and acute bronchitis. He was hospitalized briefly and then taken to his residence outside Moscow. This is the Russian leader's 10th serious illness in the last 5 years.
This was supposed to be the night of the giant bonfire at Texas A&M University. Instead, there was a vigil lit only by candlelight. Thousands of students and others carried candles for the 11 students and the recent graduate who died last week. They had been building a huge pyramid of logs for the bonfire before tomorrow's big football game against the University of Texas. Early last Friday morning, the pyramid collapsed, killing 12 and injuring 28 others. In addition to the candlelight vigil this evening, Texas A&M held its traditional pep rally at the football stadium, but it was much more subdued than usual. Some news items in brief tonight. The Highway Patrol reports a dozen traffic fatalities statewide for the first 12 hours of this Thanksgiving Day, and that's 3 more than a year ago. Continental has joined the latest round of airfare hikes, which began Monday when American Airlines boosted fares by 3%. Analysts say that airfares are now up roughly 20% since the beginning of the year. In Union City, a chocolate factory fire consumed 40 cubic yards of cocoa today, but chocolate lovers can relax. The Blommer's Chocolate Factory is expected to be back in business by Monday. And in the South Bay, a taxi driver on the way to renew his permit sped into a police department parking lot and found himself in trouble with the law. Santa Clara police say John Holway was drunk. They took him into custody.
Tomorrow marks the traditional beginning of the holiday shopping season, but before you go out and buy gifts for the kids, you might want to watch the Great American Toy Test. That's a tradition in itself. This is consumer editor Tom Bakar's 20th annual edition. Tonight he shows us 10 of this year's top 20 toys.
This year, 37 television radio stations enlisted 70 large daycare, latchkey, and after-school centers. More than 10,000 kids spent weeks picking the best of the best.
This is a great opportunity to find out kind of what works, what might be better for a classroom as opposed to what might be more appropriate for home use.
Good old Mr. Potato Head, a baby boomer now, has been around for 47 years, but his silly suitcase still won a top 20 position. It's filled with a wide variety of body parts and costumes to make endless changes to the timeless tater. For kids 2 to 200, Mr. Potato Head's silly suitcase was our least expensive winner, just $15 from Hasbro Play School. From this low-tech, no-tech toy to this ultra-high-tech winner, the Raticate Rider, a virtual arcade-style snowboard that kids 8 and up went wild for. As children lean, spin, and twist on the stationary board, their downhill progress, jumps, acrobatic maneuvers, and hazards are all projected on a screen.
The kids are into the movement and the speed and the doing things and the virtual, and that's what a lot of these games are.
Maximum fun, no danger. Priced at just $40, Ratica's Raticate is for children 8 and up. The 20th annual Great American Toy Test received hundreds of electronic and battery-powered toys.
They fit in with what the kids' interests are these days.
Fortunately for our 10,000 expert toy testers in 70 daycare, after-school, and latchkey centers across the nation, Energizer donated a whopping 7,500 alkalines to power up this mountain of toys. The Tyco Super Rebound from Mattel is a remarkable radio-controlled super stunt machine that boggles the mind.
You can do flips off of it. You can move backwards with it. That's why I like it.
Not only can it do every trick in the book, it morphs into ever-changing shapes as it does. At $60, the Rebound is a surefire winner for kids age 5 and up. This is the wireless RC Emergency Speedster from Rockenbach. It's one of many radio-controlled toys that can be joined together to form an entire Rockenbach radio-controlled city. It sells for $60, but requires the radio control unit that controls other toys you might add on. The wireless emergency RC Emergency Speedster is for kids 6 and up. Switching gears now to educational toys, the Geo Safari Know-It-All from Exploratoy is another top 20 toy.
I would say that it's a great toy.
This portable laptop learning device provides endless hours of solid edutainment as children interact with the machine and each other to learn about sports, science, history, geography, nature, words, and writing. The Geo Safari Know-It-All is $50 for kids 8 and up. Hold on now, it's Bop It Extreme from Hasbro Parker Brothers. It's a super high-tech version of Simon Says, where you do what it says as you compete to the beat. Kids loved its ability to deliver solo or group play and 4 different, increasingly challenging games. For kids 8 and up, Bop It Extreme runs about $25. Computer software doesn't often win a top position, but in this year's Great American Toy Test, 10,000 kids chose this as one of our top 20.
Take your place for some speedway fun when Putt-Putt enters the race.
From Humongous Entertainment, Putt-Putt enters the race. Putt-Putt's a little race car that needs all the help he can get to enter and win the Cartown 500.
9, 1, 1.
This game teaches sharing, strategy, safety, and a whole lot more. Designed for children 3 to 8, Putt-Putt enters the race, sells for $30.
Cool.
Now, if you don't have a personal computer, consider the electronic talking ComQuest Pro from Team Concepts. This is quite literally a sophisticated laptop computer geared to kids 6 and up.
They really like the computer games because it talks back to them.
It has 64 different activities, including word processing and spell checking. But it has endless activities for learning about everything from arts to zoology, including, no kidding, a homework helper. And kids liked it for another reason, too.
Because it has all kinds of games?
At $80, it's not cheap. But Team Concepts Electric Talking ComQuest Pro will provide years of fun. More of our top 20 toys tomorrow. I'm consumer editor Tom Bakar for the 10 o'clock news.
Making a list and checking it twice. Marky Banya says here, I guess football addicts love today.
Nah, it's the best.
Yeah.
Nothing but no break in tradition here either. Football with all the fixings. It's just that the best game of the day was a little surprising in that it had nothing to do with those traditional spots in Dallas and Detroit. Instead, it was something they call the Egg Bowl. One of those fantastic finishes, and we got it all for you. Next, the sports coming down.
This is the story of the undecked halls. She stood in a room with no Christmas cheer. But suddenly one day, we're here! The family of elves had been to Big K. Gotcha! Right? To bring in this merry holiday. Trees and bows and icicle lights. Wreaths and candles and ornaments bright. It was all so beautiful. Oh. Just one thing they missed. Now hurry back to Big K and pick up some gifts.
It's part pilgrimage, part celebration, all spectacle, a pageant of power, tradition, and heart-pounding thrills in a bayside racetrack known as Golden Gate Fields. Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, at Golden Gate Fields, everyone will receive this stylish bucket hat absolutely free. It's alive, it's real, and it's so close you can feel it. So come on out and become part of the action. Golden Gate Fields, where the Bay comes to play.
Macy's Thanksgiving Sale. Doors open 7 a.m. Friday, so you can get an early start on the most exciting shopping day of the year.
We will see fog tomorrow morning in the Bay Area at the coast and in the inland Bay Valleys, and by the afternoon, plenty of sunshine. Temperatures a little cooler than they were today, mid-60s. Mild weather through the weekend. That's your Bay Area weather forecast. Sports is next.
Find great gifts at great low prices now at Circuit City. Hurry in today and save $400 on any computer after mail-in rebates when you sign up for 3 years of CompuServe 2000 Premier Internet service. Like this E-Machines computer and 15-inch monitor. Yours free after mail-in rebates. Save $625. For friendly advice and guaranteed low prices on your new computer, stop by Circuit City today.
I'm so excited. It's Target's 2-day sale. What if I oversleep? What if I forget my checkbook? Target has Garth Brooks' latest releases, The Magic of Christmas and Garth Brooks and the Life of Chris Gaines. I love Garth. I love Chris. I don't know who I love more.
Target's 2-day sale starts Friday. Come in early for incredible savings and surprises.
Need a map?
Oh, come on! I've got to get to Target.
This week on the Playbook, wide receiver J.J. Stokes, plus Ken's radio buddy, Gary Radnich. Friday at 11 on Fox 2.
If you're a kid, you're in. 2, 4, 6, 8, clap. Me and my generation. Don't you like kids that look like that? Nickelodeon Nation. Talking about hey now. Hey now. Nickelodeon Nation. Kids like me and me from every civilization. On TV, at the movies, online, in magazines, wherever kids are. Nick there too. Nick, 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 Nick. Nickelodeon Nation.
Tonight's Sports Report is sponsored by your Northern California Chrysler Plymouth dealers.
It raises Californians' expectations about what a minivan can be, with features like a powerful V6 engine, dual sliding doors, and an available 10-speaker CD cassette stereo. Then, we added one more thing for California buyers, up to $2,750 in values, the Chrysler Town & Country. Available only for select buyers with preferred credit, 0% APR on all Chryslers and Plymouths.
Down in Dallas, they had a great storyline for the game. A couple of future Hall of Fame quarterbacks going at it. Jimmy Johnson's return to the Big D, and Deion Sanders' knack for doing something huge in the limelight. Unfortunately, the ball game itself, just a little run-of-the-mill. Dan Marino, sorry, picked this one to come back from. The Jimmy and Jerry show, of course. First trip back to Dallas since Johnson was fired by his old buddy, and one of the worst days ever for Marino, his first in 6 weeks. Troy Aikman also coming back from the concussion, and they wouldn't go easy on him either. He was roughed up a bit, but Marino way off his game after a scoreless first half. He is picked off by Dexter Coakley, and back he comes with it, 46 yards, and the game's first score, 7-0, and Danny Boy wasn't through with the giveaway. This time, it's Deion, his second INT of this game. 5 interceptions for Marino, and you can just feel the love on the Dallas sideline for Deion, and here's the one that put it out of reach, certainly out of the reach of the Dolphins. Tough defense. Aikman to Rocket Ishmael off the play action. Gone. 65 yards. 20-0 is the final Dallas damage. They're now 6-5, unbeaten at home, while the thoroughly defense Dolphins slink back to Miami. Had a pretty good 8-3 in the other traditional affair up in Detroit. The Lions looking good and saved the stuffing for Barry Sanders. He says he might come back. First possession, though, the quarterback named Gus to Jermaine Crowell, and it's a touchdown for Rott with a 45-yard hookup. Detroit would never trail, increasing the lead on the ground. Greg Hill, no Barry Sanders, but he's doing all right. He'll go 29 with it, and it's 14-0 Lions. Bears, decent this year, and trying to come back in the fourth quarter, down 21-10. Their quarterback, Jim Miller, to Marty Booker, and he does book 23 yards, but that was as close as they would get. 21-17, Lions alone in first in the black and blue division, sneaking out of a 2-game skid, and they're now 7-4. The Bears are improved. Bottom line, though, same old thing for them. Last place, 5-7 record. This is a story that really has no business in a sports report, but unfortunately, that's just the way it is in recent years. Crime and athletics seem to go hand in hand these days. This time it's Carolina Panthers wide receiver Ray Caruth, officially arrested and charged with attempted murder, along with another man. The case stems from the shooting of Caruth's pregnant girlfriend some 9 days ago. Police investigated what was then thought to be a drive-by shooting. Evidence now indicates Caruth apparently had something to do with that shooting, thus the charges. Here's the reaction of his coach, George Seifert.
Certainly disappointed. I think all of us all along, you know, were concerned about the young lady and the baby, and certainly Ray being involved in this, and we were hoping that it wouldn't come down to this.
Meanwhile, by far the best bang for your buck is a TV-watching, turkey-eating couch potato today. It was a little southern gathering they called the Egg Bowl. A couple of top 25 ranked teams get it on, and it was a great show, especially if you hung on till the end. Number 23, Mississippi, at number 18, Mississippi State, 38 seconds left in the game. State was down 20-13, and their quarterback, Wayne Madkin, up top to C.J. Sermonis. And there it is, 20 all with the extra point, 27 ticks remaining. Mississippi comes back to try and win it. Their quarterback, Romaro Miller, is Danny Marino, intercepted by Eugene Clinton, returns it 27 yards downfield, and that put them within field goal range as you see the replay and the very friendly bounce that Mr. Clinton will get there, and they take advantage. The INT leading to the game-deciding field goal. 4 seconds left from 44 yards out.
Scott Westerfield does win it for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Fantastic finish, 23-20, although Mississippi would probably argue it wasn't that fantastic. Meanwhile, Unmarried Life is sitting well with Andre Agassi as his new love, Steffi Graf, watching with Brad Gilbert, and Agassi winning over Gustava Keratin, 6-4 in the first set. Takes the match. You saw his nice touch, and he's got it all going right now with the nice timing shot and then the power. And with this victory, no matter what happens in the rest of the ATP tournament, Agassi assures himself is winding up the #1 player in the world. And what would this holiday be without a story like this? One that turkey rights activists will like, especially. Several turkeys were able to avoid being the center of attention at dinner time tonight, but they had to ski to avoid being supper. This is